and literally join us on our live broadcast. So we are going to be on YouTube. That's where all of our content will be going forward. So I want to thank all of our followers, the folks who have been on this journey with us the whole time. Appreciate you guys. And again, the reason why we're moving over to YouTube is because we want to make sure that all of our content stays available and for everyone that wants to hear it. And that's something that unfortunately I can't control as an Instagram user. So for everyone that's joining me on here, please head over to the link in my bio on our YouTube channel. We're going to be going over some stuff. And today we actually have a guest, our guest, the Hackman, who is already on here. So I'm going to have him join us right now on Instagram first, and then I'm going to have him drop in on YouTube. So Hack, let me pull you in, sir. So I'll wait for him to connect up. Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Yep, can hear you perfectly. All right, wonderful, wonderful. So we're almost there. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to go into some retirement planning strategies. I had a couple of UK guests on last week, and I promised them that I was going to do some UK stuff with them. So definitely want to get that content out on the UK side. And then after that, we'll get into our cybersecurity stuff. So, sir, how are you? How you been? Yep. Ooh, you're in a cycling challenge? Oh, you're almost done. 1 second. You're almost done. That's amazing. Yeah, that cycling challenge stuff is legit. How many miles was it total? Wow. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right, let's get you in here. Hold on 1 second. I'm hearing that they can't hear me on the mic. Let me see what's going on here. So, yep, I'm bringing you in. Yes, sir. Bringing you in right now. All right, so can everyone hear us on the audio side? Test, test. If you can hear me, we can hear you, but we can hear the guest. Okay, so you guys can't hear me, but you can hear my guest. That's messed up. Oh boy, I gotta love StreamYard for this one. All right, V, hold on 1 second. Let me just switch out my audio. Let's just use the computer for that. No, you're good. I'm gonna use the mic from the laptop because that's gonna just work well. That should get us going here. I was gonna do that last time as well. All right, perfect, V. That's what's up. All right, so now everything is good on both. So we're gonna head up the YouTube and just officially go on there from now since folks can hear us on that. I'm just gonna keep this in my ear, but no one can hear it, so it's cool. All right, so Hack, you can you want to unmute yourself on the StreamYard. There you go. Say something.
Can you hear me?
I gotta turn this off.
Is that working?
That is working. You're perfect.
All right. Okay.
All right, so I'll take you off of this and I'll put you on this. All right. So, hey, V, can you hear the guest? Can you hear Mr. Hackman? Let's see if you can hear us.
They should be able to.
Yeah, I think he can hear. I think everyone can hear us now. All right, perfect. All right, so we're good to go. All right. So, sir, the first thing I wanted to go into, and again, one of the reasons why we do this Wealth Wednesday is because we want to make sure that we're providing content for folks who ask questions. Last week we had some folks ask us questions about investments, different ways to invest. And this week we had some folks in the UK asking me questions about, how to actually do UK investments. I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to do something for y'all. So today we're going to have that be our lead in, and we'll start off with this. All right. So for folks who haven't followed us yet, please follow us on theway.com. You'll get all of our live streams on there. Everything will be on there. The purpose of that, again, is to make sure that we are giving you guys access to information. And going forward in 2021, we're going to be providing you guys with literal portfolio advice, like legit portfolio advice, looking at folks' portfolio and giving them advice on it. And again, when I say advice, what I mean by that is looking at your portfolio and seeing if it's doing what you think it should do. As a former financial advisor, it's very easy for me to see if a person that is a very elderly lady in a portfolio that's designed for an 18-year-old, I'm going to let you know that's not the right portfolio for you, just because, again, it doesn't fit your criteria. So it's a very specific industry that we're talking about. So it's important that we continue to provide you information on a very consistent, specific basis, and we can only do that on our website. So for folks who haven't, if you look at our YouTube, just again, click the link in my bio if you guys are joining us on Instagram. We're on the YouTube right now, so all the content that we're going to be discussing will be on there. So just kind of click it and follow along. So today we're going to discuss the UK. And I didn't know much about the UK until I did this research. And it's one thing to know about America, know about Canada, but the United Kingdom, I'm like, what do you guys even have? So their retirement is very similar to Canada, where they have a pension system that everyone pays into. And once you've paid into the system over a certain amount of years, you get to have a certain number of funds given to you on a, I think, bi-weekly basis or weekly basis for the rest of your life, essentially, right? The way that the pension works there is that they require that you put in at least 10 years into their, overall company pension, government pension. And after you do that, you get access to this benefit. Now, okay, can you guys hear us on the YouTube? I just want to make sure that we're loud and clear over there. Can everyone hear us on the YouTube?
I don't see any comments on the YouTube. Should I be seeing comments?
No,
Okay.
I see the comments. I'll see them.
Okay.
Yeah, I see them. So I think we're good on the YouTube. I'll let my producer click in on my link on my bio, check the YouTube and listen in and see if you can hear me. That way we're going to be good. Bev, what's up? You can hear us on the YouTube? All right, perfect. Okay. So here's the beautiful thing about the UK. They give you options as well to set aside money for retirement. And a lot of the companies there, they do a lot of pensions as well. So you have the pension that the government gives you naturally, right? Then you have a private pension, which the company that you work for may offer you. So if you work for the railroad system, if you work for certain corporations, there are certain pensions that they provide you as well on top of the government one. All right. So for someone in the UK looking to save for retirement, it's really kind of designed for them to have it's sort of like you're designed to fail. And I'll tell you why I think that. When you decide to put money aside in the pension, right? And let's say that the company doesn't match in the UK. It sucks because you're not able to get access to that money. What they do give you is a rebate. So let's say that you put in $100, right? You'll get a rebate of 25%, or I think it's 25% of that money upfront, just because you put your money in, right? 25% of that's $100. After that, you can file for your taxes and get another 25% possibly. So you can get back 50% of the money that you put aside. The problem is that the other 50% of the money that you put aside, you can't touch that until you reach retirement age. For any means necessary, you can't touch it, you can't see it, you can't smell it. If you have an emergency, you can't feel it. It does not exist for you. And to me, that is a problem. That is a system that I think is designed to somewhat fail in the future, and I'll tell you why. A lot of financial companies realize that they can't afford to have pensions. They can't afford to actually pay them. So what they do is they try to push back the date that they have to pay them to the point until, hopefully you die and then your beneficiaries can get a smaller portion of that pension. They're not able to pay out that way. So what you're going to see is the same thing that happened in America is going to happen in the UK, which is in America, we had pensions, we had road plans, we had all this stuff. And then all these corporations decided to say we couldn't afford it anymore. We're going to just transition you to 401ks. And there's been a huge mad dash to 401ks. And now every company offers a 401k because it doesn't cost them anything. You're literally putting your own money aside. and spending your own money. The company doesn't have to pay you a dime if you're there for 10 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter. If you won't put anything aside, it costs the company nothing. So the UK system, I'm telling you right now, and there are people who talk about this differently, but again, on Wealth Wednesdays, we're going to be straight. I'm not going to parse words with you guys. I'm going to make sure that I'm saying exactly what I feel because I've seen a system like that and how its strengths and weaknesses. For me, if you're putting aside money for retirement, having access to those funds are critical. If you can't get access to those monies and you need it for like buying a house, some sort of medical emergency, coronavirus hit, now you have to get hospital expenses, you can't pull that money out for anything if it's a pension in the UK. Whereas there is a system that they're now also installing called an ISA, which is similar to a Roth IRA for those who are in the States. And it's a way for you to put aside money that you can put aside tax deferred, it grows tax free, and you can withdraw the money anytime you want, right? So the ISA in the UK is literally going to be what saves people's retirements in the UK. Now, granted, there is one exception to this rule. And one exception is if you're in a company that offers a pension that matches that pension. So let's say you have a company that matches the pension with 5%, 10%, something like that, and you put in 5%. Well, yes, I can see why you may want to put in your 5, get an additional 5, and kind of call it a day. But I'm still going to go back to the access to your funds. Like, I think for folks who are new to investing, it's really important that you learn how to invest your money yourself and not rely on the government or your company to do it for you. If you have an option that's going to give you more control, I would suggest that first and foremost, because when you have control of your money, it can serve you best. You know, your money is like a job. It has a job. Its job is to serve you. And if you're telling me that I give you my money and I can't serve me until I'm 59 or 57 and a half, like, you're not doing me any favors right now, because there are people right now who I know who are retired at 34. There are people I know who are retired at 40. So you're telling me I'm going to retire at 40 and I can't get access to my money for another 20 years? That's stupid to me. So for in the UK, I'm going to let you guys know real quick. I think, again, your system long-term, it's not going to benefit you, because if all you're doing is relying on the government pension, first of all, it's not going to pay your bills. It's like 300 pounds or something like that. That's not going to do anything for you long-term. Like, you can barely eat with that, yet alone live. You know, you're going to need at least, $500,000, $1 million pounds, to like literally comfortably live. And you're not going to get that in a pension at 59 and a half if you haven't put that kind of money aside, because it's not designed to do that. So some of these sites that you can go to get a pension or to get just access to an ISA in the UK, there's actually a website called, I looked them up already, Vanguard. Vanguard offers ISAs, and you can set up one where it's strictly a stock. It's called I think it's called a stock ISA. Stocks and mutual funds, stocks and shares ISA is what it's called, stocks and shares. And essentially, you're allowed to put in 20,000 pounds into that every year, and that can grow tax deferred. So for me, that's something that I'd want you guys to max out every single year, because to be honest, you'll probably get more out of that, especially if you invested diversified overall. You'll get more out of that than you will out of a pension. That's only giving you a very small amount. So that's that. One other quick note about the ISAs and the pension system over there. There's a level of like money that, okay, let's say you want to set aside money for your beneficiaries, for your kids when you die. There are money that transfers inside of the estate, which means it's subject to estate taxes, and money that transfers outside of the estate, which is sort of like life insurance, death benefit premiums, pensions. They all travel outside of the estate. The advantage to that when you're transferring money is, if I have money in an ISA and I die, the only person that can get that money without having it be a inheritance tax situation is my spouse. Outside of your spouse, if you give it to your kids, it's an inheritance tax that they have to pay on that, right? Whereas with the pension in the UK, if you die, that can be transferred to your kids without any sort of tax liability. It transfers outside of the estate. So that's one cool thing about the pension. So there's a place for it, you know what I'm saying? But if you're invested properly in a stocks ISA and you don't liquidate those shares, there's a way to just purchase stocks by themselves and let the stocks cost basis step up and work for you. And we can talk about that offline if you need to discuss that. But again, that's still, to me, a better alternative than locking up your money till 59 years old. Like, I just don't understand that. I don't care for that. That doesn't make sense to me. So any questions about that on Instagram or on YouTube? The screen is flashing. Nelly, the screen is flashing. What does that mean? Is that like an internet connection situation on YouTube, folks? You want to tell me if that's an internet connection situation? Otherwise, we can keep it moving.
I can see you fine.
Okay. All right. I think Nelly said the screen's flashing over here. All right. So the last thing that I'll say is, yeah, the last thing I'll say is this. When you're looking at retirement in the States, so we just talked about the UK for a second. They have, really three options. You have the pension system, you have the ISA system over there. Pretty much those are two options you have in the UK. In the United States, you have a bunch of options. You have 401ks, you have IRAs, you have mutual funds, stocks, brokerage accounts, ETFs. You have all kinds of investment options, real estate. You can do all that stuff in the UK as well. One thing that's consistent is that a lot of wealthy folks always have ownership in property. That's just something that, again, is just an advantage. A lot of the wealthiest folks you'll see in the UK, they have a ton of money worth in property. And that's something that, again, once you have cash available, you can buy it. As opposed to if you put money in a pension, you can't use that to buy a house. So to me, again, all of these things are designed to be in the same thing. You always want to have your money in a liquid form where it can actually be utilized to purchase real estate or to purchase some sort of asset that can benefit your family long term. And to me, again, wherever you may be, UK, United States, putting money in a liquid account that you can utilize for those processes is always a good start. So in the United States, we have your 401k at work. And I think, Hack, we talked about this the other day. You were mentioning, we should talk about 401k matches and why it's important for folks to get in on that. So let me hit that real quick. When you have an option to get a 401k at work and they're going to give you some sort of bonus on that, they're going to give you some sort of shares of stock, or they're going to give you stock options or discounted stock, or just match your 401k contribution, take that. That is free money. And we're not in the business of getting free money from a lot of places, and you have to invest in your future anyway. So the first two things I'll tell you to do if you have a 401k at work: one, figure out if you have a Roth option on your 401k. You take that first if you have that. Number two, if you have a company match, you put in the amount of money to get the maximum match into your 401k. And the reason for that is because you're not going to get matches in the future. That's not a thing that's common. Getting shares of stock at a discount, again, are things that are not common. And for folks who have options to do that, you definitely want to take advantage of it because it's free money. The company is basically investing in you and hoping that you will invest back in it. And I think it works in two ways. One, they're assuming that you're buying into the company, so you're actually helping the share price go up, but that you're also buying into the culture. When you buy a share of something, you become part owner of that thing. So you should have more incentive to see it succeed, right? So companies do want to offer you these things, and it does benefit them when you buy them. I think it benefits you when you get free stuff. So to me, that's always going to be a winner. Always take the free money when you get an option to do that. Hack, I think you had a story. You want to tell your story about investing, or this is a good little segue before we get into the techie part? Do you want to say that to the end?
Yeah, I can share my story. So I think how folks get into investing varies. And I remember a long time ago, someone telling me, invest in what you actually understand, right? Mm-hmm. And fresh out of school, I remember I started my career sitting in an office with all new hires as well. And many folks at that time was investing in penny stocks. This was back in 2007. I'm like, sure, I want in on the party. I tried doing that, lost a bit of money, right? It was stuff I did not understand. It was pharmaceuticals, really.
Oh, wow.
And then I realized there was something I did understand, right? And that was cybersecurity. And I saw a trend in cybersecurity because there was this growing trend of companies getting compromised, right? Almost every day or every week, there was an announcement of a data breach, right? Ooh. And then one day I'm like, you know what? Let me see what the stock price is for this company that just had the data breach. And I noticed that day when they announced the data breach, the stock dropped significantly, right? What? And folks got worried because they don't know how much the liability for that data breach will be. But as someone being in cybersecurity, oftentimes the general public forgets about data breaches really quickly.
Oh yeah, that's quick.
Within 7 days, they forgot that Home Depot got breached and their credit card numbers were stolen, right? They're back in there buying flowers and everything else without a care in the world. Right. So many years ago, what I started doing was every time a company announced a data breach, and I know the company and it's big enough, I would buy their stock on the day that they publicized they had a breach, because there will typically be a considerable dip in the stock price. And I would just ride the wave back to where it usually is. And that strategy worked really well for me, certainly for the past 7 years or so. I continue to do it. I think some of my most notable ones were the Marriott data breach, where they had bought another company and hundreds of thousands of records were stolen. Another one was the Equifax data breach. I'm sure you remember that one.
Yeah.
The stock price dropped by almost 40%, but it went right back up to where it was, right? Another one that happened, a most recent one that happened was Shopify, right? That was more on the quieter side. That happened in October. I remember the night when they announced it, the next day the stock price dropped by about 12 or 18%, and then it went back up. And then there was one just 2 weeks ago, right? And that was the one that caught a lot of the US news, where they were talking about a company called SolarWinds that got breached. A lot of you may not know who SolarWinds is, but I'm very familiar with them. And this is a company that provides a platform for software distribution. And FireEye also got breached. You probably heard of that one in the news recently. So that Monday of the announcement, FireEye stock, I think, dropped by almost 40%. By the Friday, the stock price had doubled.
Now, you have just described what I want to tell folks is as behavioral investing. We humans sometimes do things that don't make sense, but we do it consistently. And you just found a hack. You just found one. And I mean, this talks to the fact that folks invest based on emotions. And when they do, and you can understand that as an advisor, you know when the fire's burning, jump the hell in, depending on what you, in this example, and that is called a swing trade. For folks who don't know what he's doing, what he's actually doing is actually taking advantage of behavioral investing. And he's taking advantage of a swing trade. A swing trade is a trade that you can make, and within 3 to 5 days, roughly, you can make either your 10 to 20% on that trade instantly, even more, depending on how much you actually want to take out of the market. So if you see a stock, and this is just a tip for anybody that is investing in stocks and day trading and doing all that stuff, if a stock price drops by at least 50% for nothing besides a news article, like let's say, like again, there's a data breach, right? Okay, that's cool. Did the operations change? Did they stop serving the customers that they had? Did anything actually fiscally change for them besides the fact that there was a data breach, right? In this example, if that's all that happened, but the company is still running the way it runs, that is a swing trade opportunity. 50% drop means that you have at least a 20% climb out of that dip if you get to the bottom of that. So what I would do, and Hack, you've done it perfectly, is literally hunt out people. There are people who do this. They hunt those types of stocks where they wait for the 50% drop so that they can jump in and take the 20% gain back up. That's a swing trade. That's a legitimate strategy. So, sir, back to you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, the only reason I do it is because I understand the impact of data breaches, and having lived it for so many years. Like part of my career was I used to write these things called incident reports, right? So when something really bad happens, I used to, well, not write a report, but help edit the report that will be then presented out. So understanding the space fairly well, it was something that I was quite comfortable doing, knowing that oftentimes data breaches will not necessarily cause a company to fold, right? And I just found it interesting that strategy has sort of taken me this far in terms of working so well. But like you say, there is an actual term for it. I'm no financial analyst or advisor or anything like that. I just wanted to share that personal story in terms of what works for me.
Listen, and that's what this is about, man. My post today was like, Wealth Wednesday is literally about experts coming in and talking about their truth, speaking their vision, and understanding like, hey, we're all in this ship together, learning together, growing together. So to me, that's a big thing. T-Mobile alerts customers to a new data breach, December 30th, 2020, folks. We got a
Perfect.
we got a
You know what?
T-Mobile.
There's so many of them happening as of late. It's almost impossible to keep up.
Oh boy, you're gonna be trading like that's your second job, Hack. That's wild. Well, in the year in review, which is what we're doing right now. This is our last episode, folks, for 2020. And I want to thank, first of all of our guests over the past several episodes that we've had on here. Name names. The Mind Investor, Quentin Mezitin. I want to thank you. We talked about financial advising, life insurance, retirement, disability. We talked about credit. Amazing guest. I'm going to have him back on. Obviously, Hackett Farrell, gentleman that's on right now, for cybersecurity guru and just all of the tips and tools he's given us to protect ourselves. I want to thank Fahim Francis. We spoke about mutual funds and his app that's coming out in Canada. So folks, just stay tuned to that. That's going to be coming up real soon. If you don't know who he is, follow him on Instagram. You'll connect him on my, he's under my friends list. Also part of the Good Rookies podcast, which is amazing. And Elijah Tyson, part of the Grind Tribe. That's an entrepreneur into health and motivational speaking. He does it all. I'm going to have him on again. Obviously, Robert Tankson, the CEO of Presto Doctor in the cannabis industry. Great dude. Him and his family are amazing. Janelle Alvarado talked to us about stocks and real estate. And again, that's what this is to me. This is what we want out of, our year. My wife and I, we decided to do our Wealth Wednesdays and just do this because we wanted to give folks an opportunity to come on and be experts and help give you guys more content. And I think, these individuals, these six folks have definitely contributed greatly. So I want to just thank you all. Hack, I want to thank you for consistently coming through and showing up for our people. Everyone may not see this when it's live, but they always come back and review it and look at it. And I think that's the key to this. We have a lot of folks coming here from Clubhouse who, we speak to about financial literacy. And for anyone who's joining us now to reset the room, you can join the link on my bio to see our screen on our YouTube channel. That's where we have the simulcasted. So if you want to stay here, that's cool. If you want to go over there, you want to be heading over there soon anyway, permanently. So this is just kind of like a stopgap. So yeah, definitely want to thank all of our guests. And I want to thank StreamYard for being StreamYard. I mean, that's been a really great host for our YouTube. If you haven't used StreamYard before to host your meetings, you may want to consider it. It's a pretty cool and dope way to get live content up. All right. So with that being said, let us get into your stuff. Hack, what do you want to talk about, man? There's so much to talk about.
So we can cover sort of a year in review in cybersecurity, and then what we could expect, I guess, next year as a trend. So I think a couple of things I'm going to touch on that sort of both hot in the news right now, as well as trends that are going on. There's a lot of discussion around user privacy and ethics, right? So there's a feud right now going on between Apple and Facebook, right?
Ooh, really? Didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg took out full-page ads in New York Times attacking Apple. Apple has responded on Twitter about it. And here's what the feud is over. So Apple is about to push a release to its iOS device that will notify you to grant an app permission to track you, right? Now, the reason why Facebook is upset is this is their largest stream of income, advertising, right?
Right.
So being able to send you targeted ads is how Facebook makes money. Right. Now, if you as a Facebook user gets a pop-up on your iPhone, right, whilst you're, let's say, browsing for shoes, and it says, hey, Ben, do you want to allow Facebook to track this page? Most likely you're just going to hit no.
Damn right.
And if you hit no, now Facebook cannot send you an ad for the shoes when you go onto Facebook and you're browsing through Facebook. You will no longer see that ad because they will no longer know that you were actually looking at that shoe.
Ah, I see the problem here.
So I mean, and Apple has been touting this for many years. They've been talking about they take a strong stance on privacy it's a fundamental human right, and they have strict policies and procedures around it. Facebook is saying this is going to be detrimental to our business, right? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg also said the iPhone is a glorified, expensive device for the elite, right? And he's encouraging folks to use Android. So the feud is getting a bit nasty right now.
Oh, they're getting petty. They're getting petty with it when billionaires fight.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how that one unfolds next year, right? As you know, Facebook also owns WhatsApp. They own Instagram. I mean, could you imagine a world where Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp can no longer work on iOS? I'm not saying that will ever happen, but who knows, right?
Right.
Who knows what the future will hold?
And that's an interesting thing, because even as I'm looking at, you know, stocks options for 2021, you know, I'm looking at Apple because they've been such a consistent, you know, stock over the last, you know, 20 years. Now this is going to make me adjust a little bit because, again, when with new knowledge comes new strategies, right? So, you know, I think there's a couple of things brewing up, and I'm trying to figure out how they work out. So, like right now, for folks who are on Clubhouse and have been invited to Clubhouse, you know, seeing how that moves and what they actually do with that matters to me, because I feel like they're like bedfellows to Instagram kind of, and Twitter. Like they're best friends. So, you know, depending on what happens with that, I think is going to impact, you know, these stock prices in 2021, because Clubhouse is booming. They don't even have enough server power to deal with the people that they got. They got, you know, different I guess it's like the Lion King or some type of auditions crashing on the side.
Yeah.
Like
I heard about
I'm
that.
like, you don't even have enough power to handle that. I'm like, okay, cool. So they're growing and you know, lifting to scale, but you know, that's going to be the next way of connecting. And I think in a pandemic, when you look at companies, and this is something that, you know, Apple doesn't really have, they don't have as much power as these other companies do. Like Apple is a provider of cell phone technology, but when it comes to social media, like that's not their space. Like, you know, so to me, they're fighting a giant, you know, and I hope Apple wins, because giants need to be checked. Like, I don't like unchecked giants. That doesn't help me. That doesn't serve us as a people. So I like that, but let's not be like delusioned to think that the giant's gonna die. Like, that's not a thing. So, you know, it's something that's important, and to continue to monitor, because I guarantee you, if Clubhouse has an IPO, or they get bought up by Instagram or bought up by Twitter or something like that, or bought up by Facebook, trust me, like it's a whole new ball game for that stock. And you know, it is what it is. So we'll see about that. Okay, so that's a fight that's happening right now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the other thing that sort of leads me to is sort of the overall trend of data collection, right, on us as individuals, right? So I've been
good segue.
This book. I'm like 250 pages in right now. It's called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by Shoshana Zuboff. This was one of Obama's books, I believe, for 2020, but I had bought it way before, and I had to put it down for a bit because it's so long. But I'm finally finishing it, and it's really getting into the fact that every facet of our life is being tracked, logged, monitored, and then ultimately monetized, right? And that's what Google is really good at, right? So if you think about you just walking down the street, right? Google Maps knows that you left your house at this time, knows what time you got to the coffee shop, right? It knows everything about you. And the trend in cybersecurity that we're seeing is the amount of data that's stored on us is increasing, but also the amount of data breaches that these companies are facing is also increasing. And COVID has caused a lot of companies and individuals to act quickly, right? I mean, if let's say you were a small business and you said by, I don't know, 2022, right, you're going to put things in place to get 50% of your employees working from home. Right. In 2020, you had to do that in 2 weeks. Right. So something that you would have planned over the course of 2 years, you had to execute in 2 weeks. And executing so quickly it causes you to sort of miss and skip certain critical things that you need to put in place to safeguard yourself and your employees. So I think the other major trend in 2021, there will be a significant spike in data breaches. Identities are going to be stolen. Credit cards are going to be stolen. Folks are going to be getting into your email accounts. Just, it's going to be a bit chaotic in the cybersecurity world in 2021.
I kind of have a perfect segue for this. A perfect segue. So everyone that's listening right now, I want you to do me a favor. If you have any friends, I want you to add them to this immediately. I'm gonna say something in 2 minutes. I'm gonna count down. Hey, literally 2 minutes from now, I'm gonna tell you guys something that everyone I need to do right now. And if you don't have the time to do it, write down what I'm saying and tell your friends. I'm gonna give you guys the time right now because that's how important this is. The gentleman that shared this with me on Clubhouse 2 days ago, and I did it personally. So I'm gonna show you as an example of a data breach for myself. And all of you have this as a problem. Every single person that has not done this specifically, I need you to go and tell your friends right now to log onto this live, either YouTube or whatever. I'm gonna share something with you in 1 more minute. That's how important this is. So folks who are listening, I'm not even gassing you. Literally go tell your people to jump on this right now because what I'm about to share with you is going to blow your mind, and it's about exactly what the hack just mentioned. So if you're on our YouTube, I'm going to actually pull up a website and I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
The website I want you to pull up, everybody, and do this on your phones. Do it right now. I want you to do it right now. I did it earlier this week and I got my stuff off. Literally, this website has all of your information on it. Your phone number, your name, your date of birth, your year, your accomplices, your previous aliases, all of that is online right now. And people get access to that right now and even get maps to your house right now, okay? So here's the website, truepeoplesearch.com, spelled exactly the way that it sounds. I want you to go over to our YouTube. I'm going to pull it up right now, okay? Have it up, okay? It is truepeoplesearch.com. Everyone that just joined us, Janelle, hey, what's up? Afrocentric, hey, Drew Creates. I want you to literally go online, type this address in, truepeople.com. Okay, truepeoplesearch.com. If you haven't joined our YouTube, click on the link in my bio, join our YouTube, truepeoplesearch.com, all one word, truepeoplesearch.com. Go there, right? Everyone that's there now, I want you to type in only your first and last name onto this website. So I'm going to do mine because I already did this, and I would share what my name. So I already took my information off, but if I didn't, it would show my information the way that it's showing this information right here. Okay, and I'm going to show you what it shows: your current address, your phone number. It shows any associated names, your email address, your previous addresses. All someone needs to identify, steal your SHIT is to go on this website and punch in your name. And I actually tested this on folks that I know just to see how accurate this thing was. And it is insane to me. It is insane to me how much information is available for anybody that just goes to this website, types in their first and last name, and sees what it says. Now, here's what I want you to do. For all those folks who are watching and following along, I know. So everyone that did this, you see the SHIT. I want you to, right now, if you've already gone there, okay, I want you to scroll to the bottom of that screen that shows all of that stuff about you, okay? I want you to go to help, okay? Click on that. And in the help tab, you're going to see, if you scroll down, you're going to see, where is it? This site. How do I remove myself from this site? Okay. How do I remove myself from this site? Scroll down on that section, and that's what you will see. When you're there, you just click on the area that says, please click and follow the instructions. They're going to ask you for an email address. Okay. Provide your email address right in that section. If you're following us on YouTube, you can see this perfectly. Link in my bio. Just click on that. We literally have the window up. When this is done, I'm going to post this live on YouTube so you can just check it out later. Put in your email address. They want to verify that you're not a bot, that you're not a computer, that you're not some fake person. You put in the email address, they'll send you a private link to that specific computer. When you get that link on that specific computer, you have to go into your email on that same computer. Don't change computers. Don't do it on your phone and then go do it on your laptop. No, the IP address has to be the exact same. Whatever you did this on, it has to be the exact same computer. Just reply to the email on there, ask them to remove, and it's done. It takes 2 to 3 days, and literally it's finished. I could literally give you screenshots. Like I took screenshots of this before I did this, and on me they had my age. They had my current address. They had my last 3 phone numbers, which were accurate. They had my previous addresses where I've lived when I went to school in Buffalo, all the addresses that I lived when I was up there. They had all of that. They had all of my relatives. They had my father, my brother, my sister, my cousin. Like literally everyone that I know was on here as possible associates, possible businesses. They had my company on there. Like I could literally cyber security your situation just by knowing this. All I need is your name, and I'd go to your Facebook, see what day your birthday was, and that's it. I can literally be you. So for everyone, again, I want you guys, I'm going to pin the place that I want you to go. Thank you, babe, for putting that up there. I'm going to pin it. Everybody right now, this can change your life, and it can change your 2021 on cybersecurity. Go to truepeoplesearch.com. Type in your name. You will see some scary stuff. When you see it, I want you to go to the help function, scroll down to where it says remove me, click, send your email in, get your name off that website, because again, cybersecurity, that is a breach. That is a breach. You're all welcome. And don't thank me. Thank the gentleman on Clubhouse that told me about it. I did it personally, and you know how we do. In our village, we're going to share our stuff. So everybody, go do that now. Hack, what do you think?
Yeah, so True People Search is certainly one of them. There are many of them out there. Like there are literally hundreds of them out there, unfortunately. I think overall, if you also want to remove your information from Google, you can do the same thing. Like when you go to Google Images, you see all of this stuff about, you may see old pictures from high school and stuff like that. You could certainly aim to get those things removed. I don't know much about True People Search myself. I'm certainly gonna do some more research on it.
I'm gonna put your name
I did. I don't have a lot of information on there. Personally, they have some previous addresses of mine, but no phone numbers or email addresses or anything like that.
You're lucky. I'm sure a lot of folks on this chat aren't that lucky.
Yeah. You
haven't been here long enough, man. Trust me. I
haven't been in the country long enough.
Here, you apply for a few credit cards, and you'll see your name will be all over this.
Interestingly enough, within the first 6 months of me moving to the US, I had some issues that appeared on my credit report out of nowhere. And I'm like, how is this possible? I literally just got my first US credit card 6 months ago, right? But it just goes to show how messed up the system is, right? Overall.
For everyone now joining us, I want you guys to understand that what I asked you to come and join us for was to go to a website called truepeoplesearch.com and type in your first and last name. And you're going to see some information pop up on there that's going to basically out your whole life. For folks who are in the States, for folks who are in Canada, I would check it anyway. And if you see that you have information that's on there, I want you to literally go to the help tab at the bottom of that page, put in your email, let them send you an email to remove you from this listing, so that way, at least that's one of the ways that you can actually improve your cybersecurity for 2021. Now, here's another one. So for folks who have access to their credit report, right? I think TransUnion is one of them. Experian is another one. There's ways to dispute certain information on those reports that actually raise your credit score. We'll talk about this real quick. This is a quick hit on this. So what you do is you just basically go into your TransUnion or to your Equifax, whichever site you have that can actually you can discuss any sort of like errors on your report. So any previous old addresses, any wrong phone numbers, all of that type of stuff, you can literally put that in and dispute them. And once you remove them from your credit report, what that does is it actually allows you to have a higher credit score, because sometimes your credit is attached to certain addresses or attached to certain names. So one way to clean up your report and have less of this information out there is to make sure that the bureaus have a very specific amount of information and data on you that's accurate and that's literally specific to like where you currently are. Previous addresses, you don't need, you can literally update all that. So if you have the wrong address that's in there, like say I have an address from Buffalo, I can literally say that I'm gonna dispute the addresses, dispute them all, and just put your current address on. And what has happened for some folks is that has actually increased their credit score by 5 to 77 points, depending on what is connected to that personal information. All right. So focus on nothing but personal information when you do this. We're not talking about bills or previous stuff. No, focus specifically on personal information, phone numbers, addresses, that type of stuff, and just edit those. And what you put under when you're editing as a reason for it, you put in never lived there for the previous addresses. That way you'll just kind of narrow down that entire option. So those are 2 hacks that you guys can thank Clubhouse for. I'm not ashamed of claiming my sources. And again, the key to this is sharing. Sharing is caring. So tell your friends about this. Let them know to kind of review this and do it for themselves. And hopefully they don't get hacked the way that some of the folks who are on there can. Hacker, we have a question here. Someone was asking, how do we remove data from Google? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, the way you remove it from Google, you have a way to send folks who have the questions a link, right? Let me get you the link.
Yeah. Where are you posting it?
I'm going to send it to you on the YouTube chat.
Cool. I'll post it.
Okay, 1 second. Let me make sure this is the right one.
Okay.
Oh, wait, wrong link. Oh, here we go. Oh, there. Okay. I just sent you the link.
Okay. Let's see if I got it. All right, I got it. Yep, I'll post it.
So the Google related stuff, it's in the second part of that page. And that's how you'll get your information removed. I think, so here are my thoughts on getting information removed from various websites. I think it's a bit of like playing whack-a-mole at the CNE or at an amusement park, right? You whack one down, another one pops up. You whack one down, another one pops up. You whack one down, another one pops up.
Let me play whack-a-mole, man. Let me play it. I'll play that game. Shoot.
So what I've personally been using is a service that my previous company used to offer, right? And when I was there, I obviously had it, right? And I didn't realize how expensive it was since I left that company. But as a part of, so Symantec had bought a company called LifeLock many years ago.
Yep.
So LifeLock was a credit monitoring company. But the reason why they merged with a cybersecurity company is not only could they protect you from a credit side, they now had the ability to protect you from a cybersecurity side. So the package that they have, there's something called Norton 360 Ultimate. And what it does is every time your name, email address, phone number, or anything shows up on one of these sites, like you mentioned, whether it's True People Search or any one of them, you get an alert or a notification. So it's almost like, one, they're constantly crawling the web, right, to see where your information pops up. And then they notify you of it, and you can actually go on to get it removed. So it makes the process a bit easier, instead of like you proactively trying to seek it out to see where it is. Because a lot of times what folks don't realize is when you search on Google, you are searching what they call the public internet, right? But there's also what they call the dark web, right? Which I don't think you've necessarily searched, because you need a special search engine to search the dark web to see if you have any passwords there that you may be unaware of.
I just hear when it gets breached. I have like a system that tells me if it's been breached, but I don't know how to find anything on there. But I just know how to know that it's been breached.
So I think that's very important that you share with the viewers, because I think a lot, and I was having this discussion just this week with a friend, right? they messaged me. They're like, "Hey, could you get me an antivirus subscription, something, right?"
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm in the cybersecurity industry, and I just purchased something for my wife and I. I don't use free stuff on my computer or to protect myself
Right.
because the free stuff are just not good.
Exactly.
Right. And I told her the same thing. I'm like, I can't sit here as a professional and recommend to you something free that you can get from downloads.com because I know it's just crap. Right. So I recommended her something good. So I think exactly what you're talking about, where you get alerted. I have the same thing for my Wi-Fi, and it also comes with insurance. If you are breached, right, they will do the work to get your information repaired. And if your identity is stolen, someone opens up a credit card or does some fraudulent activity, you're covered up to whatever amount. I think the one I have is up to $1 million in coverage is what I have.
Coverage. That's real good coverage, yeah.
So I think it's really important that folks are aware that these things are out there, and you should certainly have something like this. Like if you have a lot to lose, like it is worth the spend. And I'm not trying to lose anything. So
best investment I've made in 2020. Cybersecurity best.
It's 200. I think the package I have is like $100 something a year, and it covers my wife and I. And that gives us everything from credit protection, monitoring, identity theft protection. It gives us insurance coverage. If our identity is stolen, something is opened up, we are alerted of it, all of that.
Amazing. And that's important. I mean, we're talking about wealth and how do you protect it, right? Like, because if you make a lot of money and your identity gets stolen, guess what? That can get stolen too. Or you can be put in a position where you have to pay to get your identity back. Like that, those are no-goes for 2021, okay, folks? So we don't want any of that. Question, what's the best antivirus protection to use for PC and Mac? Mike Cuts, so I use Bitdefender personally, and not to boost them or boast them, but that's just who I found. They have a box that I really, really appreciated. It kind of did a lot of things for me in one shot. But there's others. There's Symantec, there's Hack. I mean, you can just list them off. There's if just Google. And what I did was I actually searched the best ones, like ranked by the industry. Like I wanted to know what the industry thought about these different cybersecurity solutions. And there's differences in them. Like some of them are good with certain things and they're better in other things. And you kind of have to figure out what you're using it for, you know? So I would say just do a quick Google search, you know, best cybersecurity software 2020, and look at the list. There's a list of 5 players that are usually up there doing the same thing. Norton Antivirus, Symantec, Bitdefender, like you'll see the same names coming up. So just pick one, and what you'll see is the plans are very similar, but they do offer specific things that are different. So you got to know what you're looking for. Hack, what do you want? I mean, that's your
I completely agree. And Bitdefender is great. I have a lot of friends working there as well. And the interesting thing about the cybersecurity industry, when you start looking at the top 3, top 4 players, I always say they're all pretty much doing the same thing. And here's why. We all move around to the same company. Like it's literally like a revolving door, right? The engineer who did that at Symantec for the last 3 years is now at Bitdefender. The Bitdefender engineer who did that for the last 4 years is now at McAfee, right? So it's literally a very, very small world.
Small world, man.
What it really comes down to are some of the features that you want, right? So when my friend reached out to me, she was asking me for recommendations. My recommendations was a Norton one I had used, and that was specifically for her because she had multiple devices, right? She wanted to protect her laptop, her phone, her tablet. A few weeks ago, I think we spoke about not using public Wi-Fis. And if you use a public Wi-Fi, making sure that you have a secure VPN, right? That's a feature that comes with the package that I shared in the chat to Ben, that you can paste on Instagram as well. But I used to use Malwarebytes as well in the past. That's another great one. Bitdefender is great. McAfee is great as well. And right now I use the Symantec one personally because I was just there for 13 years. I know what it's made of. I love the features in it, and that's what I personally use. But I think the point here is don't use the cheap stuff and expect to be protected or be disappointed when something happens, right? I think the important thing here is you want to have something to protect the damage from occurring to begin with, right? Like when your identity is stolen, that could like really mess up your life. You know what I mean? Or when, let's say, your computer, if today you turn on your computer and you see a message that says, this happened to a friend in Toronto a few weeks ago, his company, small business. You turn on your computer and it says, all of your files have been encrypted. Please pay 150 Bitcoins to this address to get it back. What would you do if that happened to you tomorrow, right? Would you pay $150 a year to prevent that from happening? If the answer is yes, you should not be using a free software solution.
Exactly.
Right? You should actually be paying for something. And one great tip to get it on a discount is when you research these top 3 or top 4 solutions, don't buy it directly from the vendor. Don't go to Bitdefender or go to McAfee or go directly to Symantec. Sometimes go to Best Buy's website, Staples, go to Walmart, Target, because they always got it on sale, right? So if you go directly to the website, you're just gonna see the MSRP price. But if you go to Target, Walmart, you're getting the same thing. They're still sending you an email for you to download something and type in a key. You're gonna get the sale price. So that's a quick tip.
That's an amazing tip. That's an amazing tip. And folks, I just added our producer, Lex Malone, just added that as a pinned link for the Norton products that you can kind of go through for the 360 LifeLock Advantage. So definitely take a peep on that. So we've got 3 more minutes left. Hack, anything you want to say to close out our year? I mean, first of all, I'll just say I appreciate you, man. Every time you come on here, I know that you're spitting gems, so that is amazing. And I'll talk about the True People search in a second, Diamond Eyes. So Hack, what do you want to wrap up?
I think what I want to wrap up with is going into 2021, be more mindful. I think being in the industry, we are sort of preparing for almost like a wave of data breaches that are about to happen. Like, because the lead up to these things occurring are typically a shift. So the leading indicator to data breaches will typically be a shift in the way in which we are working. The shift in the way in which we worked has happened, right? Many of us are working from home. That shift has already taken place, right? And now attackers are using every tactic and new arsenal that they have at their disposal to compromise you or your company. And if your personal information is also damaged, that's just collateral damage to them, right? So I think you need to be, one, mindful of what you're clicking on, what you're doing, buy some form of protection. I think it's super important. No longer could you say, I have an Apple device, they don't get viruses. Believe you me, I can send you some stuff that will mess up your Apple machine. So you're not
so you know.
You're not immune to it
just
anymore,
so you know,
like,
jabroni, I'll jack your stuff up.
So that's the only thing I will just leave folks with. Just be mindful of what you're browsing, what you're clicking on, and so on, and protect yourself. Buy some form of protection.
All right, so protection, wrap it up, isn't just a BET slogan. All right, guys, it's do it for your computer and your online profile too. So folks, thank you so much for having just amazing presence, for joining us on these Wealth Wednesdays. Again, we're building a village.
Ben, one last thing.
Yes, sir.
One last thing I forgot to mention, and I was thinking about this yesterday. So I don't know if you guys know this, right? But I always try to share tips that I discover on my own. So if you have an iPhone, right, and you're in group chats are getting very popular these days. I have like 50 million of them on my phone. If you don't want someone to know where you are, right, don't send them photos in the group chat, or don't send photos in iMessage. So there is a little, I won't say it's a security quirk, but the way iMessage works, and Apple prides itself on privacy, is embedded in every image that you send is location data, right? When you send an image in iMessage, it retains the location data of that image, right? So if you don't want someone to know where you are, right, don't share photos in iMessage, because it's very easy to figure out where you are. If you're saying you're in New York, right, to your boss who thinks you're just working remotely, but you're chilling in Jamaica, it's really easy for him to know that you're in Jamaica if he's ever had communication with you in iMessage and you've either shared a screenshot with him from a presentation or you shared something else, because the location information is shared. And the way you can turn it off is you can go to location services on your phone and turn it off for photos. But just be mindful of that when you're sharing images. Sometimes people don't really think that, hey, these people could actually find out exactly where I am. And when I say exactly where you are, exactly where you are. So be mindful of that.
Amen. Well, I know Instagram's going to cut us off in a second. So folks, I want to thank you guys on Hack. I want to thank you so much for joining us on this Wealth Wednesday. We had a great year. Next year, I wish you all prosperity and greatness. Continue to do wealthy things, from the way that you spend to the way that you save to the way that you love, the way that you buy things. Like, everything needs to be on the same mindset, the same vibration. Focus on your future. Focus on creating something that's sustainable and something that can survive for your kids and for the next generation. So, folks, we're going to jump off of this Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. All of our guests in the past, thank you guys all for joining us. And I'll see you guys in 2021. All right. Any final questions? Let me just look the room quick. Great tip on Hack. Access. Just was asked about Apple. Was it okay? Mike Cuts. Just about to ask about Apple. Thanks. Yeah. We'll discuss Apple next week. Or if you want to message me privately, we can just talk about it. Okay, Mike? All right. Diamond Eyes. Okay, cool. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful new year. And remember, just keep your mind on wealthy things. Love you guys. We'll keep you guys in our prayers. And let's hope that we all get through this next year in abundance. All right. Peace. Hack. Appreciate you, bro.
Bye.
All right. Later. All right. So the Instagram just ended, Hack. So you're still here. Don't worry about that. Share to IG. I'm just going to share that straight. Instagram, stay trying to scam me, Hack. And that's what I love about the YouTube, man. YouTube, you can do whatever you want. You know, I want to sit and talk to you on YouTube. I'll sit and talk to you on YouTube. They're not telling me nothing on here.
This is our stuff. Why Instagram is limiting you.
They enjoy limiting us, man. But yeah, so I think, well, I should have told Mike to join us over here, but it's all good. The last thing that I'd say is just even like with the people search, True People Search, like I literally looked up a few key people that I haven't been in touch with for a while, because I'm like, I want to use some people I don't care about really, and their whole government, man. Like, if you're American, your stuff's coming. It's bad. So I want to know all the other ones, man. I'm trying to find them all. Talk about Pokemon. Let me catch them all, man. I want to catch all of them. Okay.
Yeah, there is quite a bit, and like you said, I mean, for me, it's not there yet. I'm sure it will get there eventually, in terms of data, right. But I don't have a lot of information there just yet.
All right. Well, sir, appreciate you. I got to say goodbye to you twice. Isn't that cute? This guy.
Hey, it was a pleasure, man.
Listen, man, my pleasure. It's been our pleasure to have you, bro. I really appreciate everything that you do for us and for this channel and for what we're trying to build around here. And
I love it. I love it. I mean, I've been learning a lot, man. Believe you me, I'm tuning in every single week, and I'm out here doing my thing. I got Aquila on it too. She's doing her thing with investing on her own as well. So nice. Keep doing what you're doing. It's having an impact.
And that's the key. That's all we can do, man. That's all we can do is have that. So, sir, I appreciate you.
All right.
Always. Have a wonderful New Year's. Tell the wife I said what's up. Have a happy New Year as well. And I'll see you guys in 2021, man. Hopefully this pandemic crap is out the gate and we can actually hang, man.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, folks. Catch you guys next week, Wednesday. Until then, stay safe. Peace, love, and the perfect margarita. Got that from my favorite author. And by the way, my favorite author is Alaron Kong. And for those who don't know who he is, actually, I just got his newest book. And not to plug anybody, because I don't like to plug stuff, but I'll plug him because I mean, pause. But he's actually really dope author. This gentleman right here is my favorite author, Alaron Kong. This is his newest book, God's Eye, Awakening. and I've been reading it, and it is dope. So, Aileron, perfect margarita. That's the line. So, folks, till next week, stay safe. Appreciate y'all for joining us, and I'll see you guys then. All right, be safe, y'all.